So I figured out the snafu that was happening yesterday with the character substitution thing. And so I spent some time today smoothing that out. But in order to show you, I have to choose a corner. So let's go with this corner. Yeah. What we were looking at yesterday was this one. So when this is enabled, the IRL camera static fuzzes and then blips out. And then there's a delay for, what is that, 10,000, 1,000 milliseconds. And then the character, the substitution static fuzzes in and then remains, right? Now, the problem that was happening was that the timed action that just sort of makes it loop automatically has a 10-second probability. Well, at the minimum, a 10-second probability. So what was happening is that the trigger was happening a lot faster than the delay would take to end, right? So by the time that the delay was done and it was ready to move on to the next half, this thing triggered like 2 to 3 times or something like that. This is the little angry noodle dragon. I needed something that was small but a little less cute, even though I can hear arguments to say that that thing's also pretty cute, but I think it's more on the fierce side myself. It's got gremlin energy. That's all I cared about. And so the way that I fixed my I don't know if it's considered an overlap problem, but in order to smooth the entire thing out, I made it so that there is a sub action in here that turns this trigger off while it's doing its delay thing. So now what happens is the trigger goes off, the IRL camera fuzzes out, and then the trigger turns off. So this 10-second thing no longer happens, right? And then the delay happens just to let us play around with the character. And then after the delay is done, then the VR character fuzzes out, and then the trigger is reactivated so that now the timer happens. So between 10 seconds and 100 seconds, it'll trigger again and start all over. That was my solution. So to avoid this video going on any longer, that's how I smoothed that out. Let's get into Blender. The only thing that I really did today was I locked in the poses, because I will have these characters kind of moving about as the days kind of progress and as more stuff is added. So they'll be setting up chairs or they'll be putting up decorations and such like that. But I realized that I didn't have them in just a neutral pose to start off. So that was my bad. And I should have done that first. So we've got neutral pose, and then we've got day 1, day 5 pose. So it's not really an addition, but it's the inclusion of like further possibilities. So now that I have this T pose ready to go, they can be posed around, and I haven't lost day 1's frame, if you will. So on to day 5.